And as he's holding me, he lifts my chin up, with his hand, and I gaze into his eyes, and I see, and they're blue, they're bright blue as I see them. And I see the universe within his eyes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel within. I'm Mira, and today I'm talking with Sharon Sananda Kumara about her NDEs. And we will talk about life before these events, the days off, and then how life altered for her in terms of love, consciousness, and life itself. Hi, Sharon, and welcome to the channel within.
Hi, Mira. Thank you for having me. Yes, I feel honored and very delighted to be here. Thank you.
The feeling is mutual. So, why don't we get started with your life prior to the NDEs?
Okay, well, just a synopsis. I was raised Catholic. I will say that. My family, my parents were not very good Catholics. My grandmother was very devout, and my parents divorced when I was very young. My sister and I were together, and when we were very young, and we went to live with my grandmother, and it was, very devout. We went to Catholic school for a little while, and it just didn't resonate with me, the judgy part of it. My parents were excommunicated from the Catholic Church because they got divorced. So this was a long time ago. And so I wasn't a real spiritual person. I mean, I knew that there was a higher power. I knew that Jesus existed. I knew in my heart and soul that saints were some type of holy people or something like that, and that God, there was a some type of higher power, and he sure must have, she, whoever God is, the infinite intelligence, the Father, and I believe in the Father and a Mother God, uh, must have been taking care of me throughout my life, because I probably should have died a long time ago, right? And so that was my background with that religious belief, because it'll make sense when I do share my indies. And I didn't remember a lot of my childhood, and the story about that comes out later with why I didn't remember a lot of my childhood. Uh, and After my 2001 NDE. And we just moved around a lot, our kids, because my parents, were trying as hard as they could to be parents, and they didn't weren't very well equipped. And so I was a partier. I began partying. I kept down a job. I was in the corporate world, and I kept down a job. And so I lived in Texas at the time when I had my 2001 NDE, which was the big one for me. And I thought life was partying and going to work, basically. So
Yeah,
that's about
that's so
it.
different, right? When life is altered.
Yes, yes. I mean, I still kept down a job and everything like that, but I didn't have any spiritual aspirations. Although I will say, in 1998, when my stepfather passed, who I was very close to, and he and my mother lived just down the road from me, when he passed, things changed for me dramatically. That was the beginning of my spiritual awakening, and my NDE in 2001 was the icing on the cake for sure. But I started having spontaneous out of body experiences after my stepfather passed, and
Do you
sleep
mind?
paralysis.
Yeah. Do you mind talking about that a little bit? Because I read that in your bio and I'm intrigued by it.
Sure, sure. I was started having sleep paralysis episodes, and if someone has sleep paralysis episodes and don't know what are, they can be very frightening, and they were for me. I didn't know what they were. So this is again in 1998, 1999, around that time, where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'm frozen, but I'm awake, but my body doesn't can't move, and I feel a presence in the room, and I don't know who it is. I just, because this has never happened to me before. Oh, I will say that I started diving into information about the afterlife, because I needed to know that that my dad still lived on. That it just wasn't heaven and hell and purgatory type of thing, right? Because there was something inside me that I knew that there's there's got to be, he has to still exist some way, somehow. And I needed to know for myself. And I was reading books on the afterlife by mediums, actually. George Anderson, James von Prague, and John Edward were real popular at that time. They started coming out. And George Anderson's book, We Don't Die, just blew me away. And I'm like, oh, this is real. This is what it is, what's how we really are. And that was opening me up. And I think I believe when people lose someone close to them, it creates a portal. That portal helps us to, and I believe that our loved ones are working with us to create that portal is opening for us to thin the veil in some way. So that's what was happening with me and my stepdad. And and then I started having the sleep paralysis episodes where I was leaving my body in a way where I was going to find him, I guess. I don't know, where I was becoming aware in my sleep time, in my nighttime travels. And I thought I was dying because it was happening so much. And if you've ever have you had sleep paralysis episodes ever?
No.
Okay. It's pretty scary. And when I explain this to people who, take my courses or my talks or anything like that, that sleep paralysis is a precursor to out-of-body experiences, then it just lifts the weight off their shoulders because they don't understand it, and the medical community doesn't understand it. People go to the doctor to, try and stop them because or understand them, but the medical community doesn't understand them. So our body is it's a natural state that our body goes into when we fall asleep and we disconnect from our physical senses, disengage from our physical senses so that we don't act out our dreams. We're the Usually we don't wake up while we're in that state. And if we're waking up when our consciousness is traveling, then we don't understand what's going on. It takes a little bit for our conscious to come back. And I believe the presence that was in the room with me was either my astral body either coming in or leaving, or my spirit guide or someone like that. So that was happening. And then I came across an article on the internet at the time, um, that talked about sleep paralysis. I didn't even know what it was called. And it said explained what it is, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And the correlation between sleep paralysis and out-of-body experiences. And I read the benefits of the out-of-body experience, and one of them is that you can find your loved ones on the other side. You can contact your loved ones. So I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. And so I started studying and practicing out-of-body experiences, and became very adept in it. It took me about 6 weeks to have a classic conscious out of body where I consciously leave my body and I'm standing right next to my bed. That's what happened. So that's how I started. And I've journaled 2000 or more. I stopped counting at 2000 since then of out of body experiences. I share them in my first book. I'm working on a second book just dedicated to my out of body travels and journeys and how they can help us heal. So, so that is how I started, and awakening, but I was still partying. I was still partying at that time. And then I had my NDE. Yeah.
Okay, let's hear more about this NDE.
Okay. Like I said earlier, I lived in San Antonio, Texas at the time. I'm back home in Oregon now. And some girlfriends and I went inner tubing down the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels, Texas. uh, we rode on a shuttle bus to for them to shuttle us to the river and back. They were pulling a trailer that had all our inner tubes that we rented and our ice chest and things like that. And luckily, we had a really good day. We spent the whole day on the river. And when it was time to come back, the bus picks us up. And he was driving one of those little school buses that holds like 13 people. And I went to get on with my group. There was 5 of us, girlfriends. The bus was full, and they're like, and I started to turn around. They're going, no, like, come on, you can stand in the alleyway. We're not going very far. So, everybody was happy and partying and stuff and just having a good time. And so I was the first one in my group, and I went to the back of the bus, and we were all standing in the alleyway, and I was the one that was closest to the emergency exit door in the back. And so, and he also was pulling a trailer, one of those utility trailers that has all of our ice chests. So that we had 20 something people on there. We were packed. And so he's driving down the road, shifting gears, and he has a four on the floor, manual shift. And as he's, pulling away from a red light, we're being thrown back and forth because there's not really anything to hold on to. And when he's driving away from a red light, shifting from second into third, he throws me up, the bus, not the bus throws me up against the emergency exit door, and it pops open, and I fall out onto the pavement. And I remember thinking, I can't believe I'm falling out of this bus. Time slowed down for sure. That's true. It does slow down when you're dealing with going through something like this. And then I remember, I remember every bounce. And so I hit my back on the trailer hitch, bounced onto the pavement under the trailer, and bounced onto my side. And at that point, I scream in my head, "Stop! You're killing me." It's in my head, in my mind. I'm thinking that. And as soon as I screamed that out, the back tire ran over my neck and my head. And that's when I popped out of my body, actually through my head. I didn't feel any pain at the time. I just knew something told me that something's going to happen, right? And I'm floating above my body. I'm looking down at the scene, and I don't know, about 20 feet or so, I guess. And I'm looking down, and I see my body in the road. And for, one of the first things I remember is seeing one of those commuter bus driving up behind us. And I'm thinking, I hope that bus doesn't run over my body, because that would make a big mess. I definitely felt no attachment to my body, none whatsoever. And I just didn't want to I wanted to make a big mess. And then I thought about my friends, and how this is going to be a really sad time for them. This is going to really upset the whole day after we had such a great day. And here I go and die on them. I knew that I had died, what we call die. I knew that I had transitioned, and that my life, okay, well, I'm done now. I can move on to something else. It was a knowing that I knew that I've done this many times before. And, and
Did you have that knowing or before this NDE? Did you believe in past lives, etc.?
Past lives, I'm not so sure about, but I did realize, I did know through my out of body travels that that this, my consciousness here was the real me, that my body was not the real me. I had lost that attachment to my body in some way. Does that make sense?
It does.
That was a huge epiphany for me in one of my travels, in my early travels, where I turned around and saw my body in the bed, and I'm like, who is that laying in the bed? I don't recognize that person, that whoever that is, blonde hair and covers up to here, blankets. And then it hit me, oh, that's my body. But when I looked at my body in the bed, my thoughts were, that's just a bag of bones. This is who I really am, this consciousness, this light. So I did have that awareness within me. Um, and so I was thinking about that, but it didn't, and one of my girlfriends, it was her birthday. And I thought, oh, this is really going to put a damper on her birthday, and all that. So those thoughts were going through my head, but it didn't make me want to come back. And I thought about my family and all that. And I thought, well, they'll be fine. And then when I thought about my mom, who I kind of took care of, um, my stepdad, actually, I felt a presence behind me, and I turned around and took my attention off of the scene. And there was my stepdad, and he died of lung disease, and he looked really good. And I had seen him already in my out of bodies. Um, it was
So,
fleeting.
Sharon,
Hmm.
at this point, are you above your body then, looking down at your body?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And so I turn around, and he's there. We're floating, whatever you want to call it, in this space together. And he tells me, I'm really happy to see him, and he tells me it's not your time. That's the first thing he tells me. And I say, what, I want to stay. I want to stay. I was confused. What do you mean? Because I knew there was a part of me that knew that um, it was time for me to go home. And and he was telling me something about my mom, that my mom was going to need me with her transition and that type of telepathic communication, that she would be transitioning soon, which she did transition later, 20 months later, I believe it was. And so less than 2 years. And so that she needed my help and other things. And while we're communicating, and I'm kind of arguing with him. And while we're communicating, I feel a presence or movement on my right side again, and I turn, and there's a portal opening up that is I recognize as, I call the ancestor portal. And I see my ancestors there, and I'm moving toward the portal, toward the tunnel, the portal. And but they're not really happy to see me. And I recognize some of my ancestors that I knew in this lifetime, and I recognized others that I didn't know in this lifetime, but in that state, I recognize them. So there's no communication there that I recall at all. Just the communication, I guess, was, we're not having a party for you because it's not your time. Because they're
Somber looks.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, where's my party? Because I knew inside me that when we do have our final transition from our life, that there's a big party, right? There's a welcome home party. I knew that inside me, although I never really thought about it until then. And so I'm like, okay, something's up. And as I'm being drawn toward that tunnel. Um, as I'm moving toward the tunnel, and my dad is communicating, it's not your time. I see a larger tunnel, or brighter tunnel portal in the distance. And I can't say whether it was within that tunnel or beyond it. I just know that it was beyond it, may have been within it. And it's like the sun. It looks like the sun, as bright as the sun. But it didn't hurt my eyes as it became larger and larger in my perspective. And I'm gazing at that sun, like that sun portal, and I see a figure step out of that. Whoo, and I'm feeling already step out of that portal. And it was a male with long hair, white robe, and he's moving quickly toward me. And I recognize him as Christ, Jesus Christ, who I call Yeshua. And he's moving toward me, and I recognize him right away. And I realized how badly I missed him. Whew, and I flew to him. I still have my astral body. I'm in my second body, I like to call it. Yeah. So I'm still identifying as Sharon. Yeah. And and so I flew to him, and he embraces me. And and the first thing he says to me is, it's not your time. And I say, but I want to stay with you. And he knows that, and he chuckles, which is an amazing sound. And as he's holding me, he lifts my chin up, he with his hand, and I gaze into his eyes, and I see, and they're blue, they're bright blue as I see them. And I see the universe within his eyes. And it's very difficult to explain, to describe, I should say. But I know that I'm seeing the universe. I'm seeing the totality of everything and who we are, God, source, whatever, the universe is. And and then that's reflected back in my eyes. I just know it. I feel the depth of who I am in my as he's uh, as we are he's reflecting that back to me, basically, that we are one type of thing. And as that is happening, his I'm being drawn into that totality of who we are, his heart center engages with mine, and I feel this warmth in my heart center, and it spreads and spreads, and I am become light. I am I am the light. I am engulfed in light. I am light, right? The light is tangible, the light is intelligent. Then I am in that space with him, and anything or everything throughout this whole experience with him that I could have felt bad about, felt guilty about, uh, was totally washed away. Yeah. So I'm in that space with him. I'm just completely loved and blissful. If And I like to describe it this way a little bit, but because it's a little bit explains it. But it, I'm thinking afterwards, if I could smile, if I had a face and I was smiling, the smile would have broke my face. That's that's how joyful it felt. Yeah. So it's pure joy, and um, and I'm basking in that with him. And I lose track of who I am. Of course, I'm just pure light. Yeah, I just know that I'm being filled with, and I'm remembering who I am. There's no thought. It's just pure joy. And then I hear my name, and he calls my name. I don't know how long I was in there. I'm still there. You know, we are eternal, right? Is light and love. That's who we are. Um, so he calls me back to Sharon. The awareness is Sharon, and he asked me if I would like to go on a journey with him. And I, of course, agree. And he holds his hand out, and I take his hand, and I feel every line and crevice in his hand. It's just so tangible. The inner planes, higher planes, whatever we want to call it, it's just our senses are just so more profound. And that was something I remember very clearly. And then as soon as
Before you before
Mhm.
you go on, do you know the song "I Can Only Imagine" by Mercy Me? Have you ever heard of
I
it?
listened to Mercy Me. I don't recall that one. I'm sure I've heard it, but I'll have to play it
You
again.
should listen to it after. I'll send you the link. It
Okay.
reminds me of you meeting Yashua.
Oh, nice. Okay, I will. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And so as soon as he takes my hand, or I take his hand, we are flying through the cosmos, or the cosmos is moving through us. You know, who knows, right? But it feels like we're flying. In all these years, I see things a little differently, right? And um, and so we're moving through the cosmos very quickly, lights and colors and everything like that. I don't remember what planets or what we were seeing because we're moving very quickly. And we come across a blue light, and as we move toward it, I see like a star. Okay, it's a bright star, and it's a portal. We fly into that star or portal, and it's blue, bright blue. As we come through that portal, we see or I see a uh, turquoise blue, beautiful blue green orb floating in a dark space, a planetoid. Um, and and we move closer to that. And as soon as we move closer, I recognize this planet as, excuse me, as a home planet for me. And it's a water planet, it's an ocean planet. And I've always been uh, a I love dolphins, love the ocean, need to be by water, that kind of thing. Mermaids, that type of deal. And so as when we're moving toward, we're floating above it, and be, I am connecting with the matrix of the planet again. So it's waking up that matrix within me as I'm connecting with that matrix. And I felt the planet, the mother energy, the mother of the body of the planet was felt like the mother, right? And so I am connecting with her, and as I'm connecting with her, I am um, I am merged with her consciousness. And so I'm expanding as the consciousness of the planet. And I am remembering that we can, the beings on the planet can do this. We can merge with her consciousness back and forth. And I'm doing this. And as I merge with her, I feel so much love and so much compassion and adoration for every single being on my body. My body is being the planet, right? Because our bodies are planets, aren't they? I mean, we carry everything that makes up our body, moving, through time and space. And she loves every single cell up to the largest whales or whatever, on her body. And after this experience, when I was processing all this, I thought, "Yeah, we don't love our bodies enough here. Yeah, we're taught not to love our bodies." That was a big, that was a big thing for me afterwards, during my quickening that he called afterwards. Um, and so, I'm moving back and forth, and I'm moving to the consciousness, awareness of the consciousness of every being on the planet loves the mother as much as she loves them. So it was like fifth dimensional, probably fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional in that area of awareness of evolution. And so I don't know how long I was there again. Uh, then he calls me again, calls my name, Sharon, again, and I'm back to my awareness. And we dive down onto the planet, and I'm reunited as myself on that planet who has emerged with that being as that life on that planet. Because she's still there. It's not a past, or future, or parallel, whatever. It's a different frequency. Does that make sense? So yeah.
It does.
Okay.
So it's like we're existing in different places at the same time.
Yes,
Does
exactly.
that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. That's how I understand it too. Yeah.
I used to have a hard time grasping these these theories, and I still do, but it's become less foreign to me. And then I feel as if we know only like less than 10% of the cosmos. We don't really know anything. So we have to be open to ideas or concepts. So I get it.
Oh, yes, totally. Probably less than 5%.
Yes, it is less than 5%. You're right. You're right.
Not very much. I mean,
Yeah.
we're a young race. We're young. We're a young,
Yes. Yeah.
uh, you know, I don't know whether you call it race or whatever, beings, whatever we're called planetary beings. And so, it's just like we're like kindergartners when it comes to the consciousness of the universe and evolution. But, we have a lot of potential. I know that we have a lot of potential
That's
because of
good
our
to
heart,
know.
and and our soul and our need for growth, which is really big, as long as it's from the heart, of course, right? But yeah, we need, most of us, we need to grow and be of service. That's our need. We want to help people. That's an innate need within us. We want to help people. We want to be able to spread joy, spread love, because we are love. That's who we are. Yeah. So we got that going for us. So I'm on the planet, in the ocean, and I'm reunited with I have a mate, I have children, parents, a community there, and I'm uh, mm, in immersed in that life. And this part of me would still be there if he hadn't brought me back, right?
Are you able to communicate with that part of you or that you in there currently or no?
Yes, I was communicating. I was going there in my out of bodies, and that helped me with my memories and everything too. But it was just so, and in my meditations, it was so emotional for me because I they had to keep bringing me back. My guidance had to keep bringing me back, so I wanted to stay there. I was out all the time. Yeah. So I don't do it as much now because it's I need to be tethered here, right? Yeah. And so when I was there, I hear my voice again, probably more than once. I remember hearing it. And and then I'm back at Sharon and we're floating above the planet again. And I tell him, okay. He says, are you ready? I said, okay, on one condition. I'll go back to Earth and I love Earth, nothing wrong with Earth. Um, I will go back to Earth as long as I know without a doubt that you are with me every step of the way, tangibly. You're walking with me, you're sitting with me, that I know that you are with me, and there's no doubt in my mind that you are with me for the rest of my life. And he said, okay, it's a deal. And then I'm back on the pavement in 100 something degree weather and jump up and run to the side of the road. And they take me to the hospital and check me out, and nothing's broken. Nothing's, yeah, no,
How
no.
long were you were you in transition for? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. Probably, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 seconds, a minute. I have no idea because I just jumped up. He finally stopped the bus. He hadn't stopped right away. My friends told me all this afterwards. And a couple blocks up, I guess. He didn't know I had fallen out, poor guy. And so, yeah. So when I when I came back to my body, I jumped up and my friends were running up from where he stopped the bus. So I don't know. In the car, and the bus that commuter bus obviously stopped, and the cars, that were behind stopped. They released me from the hospital after 5 hours, and I have a lot of road rash and stuff, and my hair was falling out in a in clumps, which was not fun. But and I had back stuff that I have to maintain, and I have neck issues and nerve damage there. That yeah. But other than that, it could have been a lot worse for sure. It probably would have if I do believe that Yeshua healed my body with that when I was in the light. Yeah, when he helped me with that, I do believe that.
Did he keep his promise to stay with
Oh
you?
yes. Oh yes. That's that's in my book, by the way. Uh
Okay.
yeah, totally. He kept his promise. It took a little while for me. I had to heal. My body needed to heal. Because I was pretty banged up. I was in bed for quite a while, a couple weeks, I guess, where I couldn't hardly move. And then, I didn't go back to work for a couple months, I think, after that. But it was a couple weeks that I was completely in bed where I couldn't move. I couldn't sleep on my side for 2 years. Um, I went to back to work part-time after 2 months. I was home when 9/11 happened. Because this was, yeah, 2001. So June, it was June 2001. And so yeah, I actually saw him in an out of body experience the morning of the 9/11. Yeah, it's
Do
crazy.
you
I
mind
didn't
talking about this?
uh no, what happened was I was in bed sleeping, and uh the I have to think about it here. And I was having an out of body experience, and I saw Christ, and who I recognized as Jesus. And he was standing there with a little boy, had his arm, next to him. And I ran to him. I wanted to embrace him. And I was just recovering my memories about this time. I didn't remember everything at once. Like I said, I needed to heal. My psyche couldn't take all that all at once for sure. Uh, and so I ran to him and I went to embrace him, and he changed, morphed into something that was scary. And the phone rang, and it was my mom telling me what had happened, 9/11. I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, that's where I was when it happened.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I was actually in New York City.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and saw the smokestacks and could not. Um, we couldn't leave Manhattan for a while because, as you imagine, everything was down.
Right. Yeah. How
Yeah,
scary. Yeah,
it
that's
it
awful.
it definitely was.
Mhm.
So, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing the NDE as well. What how did life change for you in terms of your perspective about love, life, and consciousness after that fateful day?
Well, it was a process. Uh, like I said, I was healing. I was still traveling out of body, and he was appearing to me in my out of body experiences. Then my mother passed, and yeah, and that was a big deal for me. We
Yeah,
were very close.
condolences. It's hard when we lose our moms.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Uh, and so I, this is funny. Um, when my stepfather passed, okay, let me start over with I was a psychic kid, right? And we all are basically. And so I was seeing, because of my history, what was going on with me as a kid, I was seeing future events. I was seeing dead people, that kind of thing, seeing lots of scary stuff too, which is a whole other story, like beings in my room that, I didn't know what or who they were. And that's other stuff that came to me too, working with Christ afterwards. And so my mother wanted to talk to our dad, and she had a friend who was a psychic. I will say that as a kid, it was so scary for me. I shoved those abilities down as I became an adult. Okay. And a lot of us do that because we don't understand it, and Catholics sure don't understand it, So, I mean, nothing against Catholicism, but I wasn't, I was in the right, the elders around me weren't in the frame of mind to help me develop those abilities. So, her psychic girlfriend said, "Why don't you get a Ouija board? Talk to your dad." And I'm like, "Okay, I I'd used a Ouija board once when I was a kid and it didn't move, so thank goodness. I was like 13 or something, and me and a couple girlfriends used it. It didn't even move at all. Like, so they were watching out for me there for us. And so we got a board, and we talked. Dad came through right away. Of course, he was there. I felt him all the time. I was contacting him through my practice. And when I noticed that when my mom took her hands off the board and my hands were on it, it would fly around the board. So my abilities were starting to come back. I'd opened up that portal, like we're talking about, that portal was opened. And so when mom passed, I got an angel board. I bought an angel board, which is just like a Ouija board. I believe a Ouija board gets a bad rap. Now, kids should not be using them, definitely. It's just another tool to be able to contact the spirit world. That's what a Ouija board means or is. Ouija means yes, yes in French and German. Ouija, yes, yes. So it's just a spirit board where you can contact um, people, but how, your loved ones or whoever you want to contact, but you need to make sure you know what you're doing and protect yourself, that type of thing.
I never put that together. Ouija being
Ouija,
yes, yes.
yeah, that's what it
So,
is.
how is the angel board different from the Ouija board?
It has an angel painted on it. It's a beautiful board. I have a wolf board. I have you can get really beautiful spirit boards. Angel board. I had a third eye board that I used all the time. That the numbers are, rubbed off of it. All the words are rubbed off. And And so when mom passed, I sat out in my backyard in Texas and talked to her pretty much every night. And I know it was her. You know, right? You know when you're sensitive and you're talking to who you want to talk to through that or any other kind of tool. And so one didn't take long for her to say, "I have a guide here for you who wants to connect with you." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, and I had started learning about ascended masters and people like that at that time. I was very green. And so I said, "Oh, well, who is he?" I felt his presence, right? I felt his very strong presence. I didn't know who he was. She just says, he's a guide for you. And she said, I said, "Oh, is he an ascended master?" She goes, "He's top shelf." Like, oh, look at me, getting all puffed up. And so and so I didn't want to let her go, right? And I was didn't feel worthy subconsciously to be in the presence of someone who had so much love. I could feel it, right? So I would ask her questions about him. And then one day I said, "Okay, mom, I'll talk to him." And I felt her energy move out and his energy move in. And it was so intensely loving. We have no idea how much he loves us and the higher being. I mean, it's we can't hold all the love in our bodies that he has for us. We just can't. It's so much, a million times what we can even imagine. And I cried for 2 weeks straight just from the pure love. And then I started working with him. And he tried to convince me who he was. He told me he was Christ. And I'm like, "Oh, Christ consciousness." And everything. He says, and. So I'm communicating with him on the board. And then he finally convinced me in meditation with a vision of who he is. And it hit me because when you know, right? And then it hit me. And while he worked with me, oh, okay, you kept your promise. And that, whole story is in my book about how that tangible relationship came back. It's not new. We all know, him. He knows everyone. We are a part of him. We have so much guidance, all of us here. It doesn't matter who you are, that we can't even imagine. Our angels, our guides, source. These are it's beyond our comprehension. Yeah. So yes, he did keep his promise. And I also kept my end of the deal with he asked me to sit in meditation every night at 9 p.m. with him, which I did. I Because why wouldn't I want to be in meditation with Christ, right? Well, we all have that waiting for us if we don't, don't have it now. He's there for everyone. He meets us where we are, for sure. And I'm no one special, that's for sure. So we all have that ability. We all have that avenue. He's there for us. Yeah. And well, actually, I first started talking to him on the spirit board, and it was and he was teaching me, remember, helping me remember a lot of things, uh, not just my history that I needed to heal. He was teaching me about past lives and needing to heal a lot of trauma from past lives too that I had brought forward. And that's when I started learning about trauma from this lifetime, like why I didn't remember my childhood and other past lives that I brought forward, trauma that needed to be healed. It was keeping me from moving forward. And I was partying because I had a lot of trauma that was buried. Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't a drug addict or an alcoholic because a lot of people that were in my shoes probably were or could be. You know what I mean? But I stopped partying. I didn't need it. He filled me up with everything I needed. Yeah, because that's what we're all looking for, right?
Yes, that's what we're searching for, and we get confused and think it's everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. But yes, in answer
That's
to your
really good.
question, the long answer, yes, but yes, he definitely kept his promise and still does.
That's powerful. I have a question with regards to the planetary exchange on the blue planet, blue light. Are you able to have this kind of exchange with Mother Earth, with Gaia?
Yes, we all can have that exchange. Yes, I
Yes,
have had it with Mother Gaia. Have you?
I do because I feel as if I feel like sometimes she is overburdened with everything that's happening on our planet. And I do try to send love to her and to feel love from her as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I have never felt that from her, that she was feeling overburdened. I have not felt that. I That's me, okay?
That's my imagination because of the wars and the hatred and some of us, we can't get along with each other. So it's my perception of what she is feeling, me.
Yeah, what I glean from her whenever I do connect with her is that we are her children. And I actually had a very profound experience with the Great Mother, who I feel represents the planet too. And it was an out of body experience. I just, I was out. I wasn't even trying to go out. And there she was. And she called me her child. And, um, and I fell to my knees and asked for her forgiveness. Yeah, because I felt like I had failed as a human and whatever my mission is or was. And, and I felt like I had failed. And she says, "Oh, no, 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 no. Stand up, my child." She's saying, "You are here for a very big reason, and so is everyone else, and you have done nothing wrong." Yes. She knows it's a journey that we're on. She knows this, and she did call for help. Now, I do feel that she did call for help from star beings, and I feel that a lot of us who are here as star beings, as light workers from other systems, came to help her and her children, humanity, that are on this planet to evolve. Yeah, because there's been some interference, I guess you can say. I've learned over the last 20 years of waking up. Yeah, Yeshua calls it my quickening because it was very intense. I wouldn't, a Kundalini awakening, dark night of the soul, quite a few. Um, and that because I apparently because of my life trajectory, and it needed to be quick.
Yes, it sounds that way. I am inspired by this NDE to definitely meditate more.
Yes, it's so important. And I mean, everyone talks about how important it is for us to disengage from the outside world. It doesn't have to be anything big and profound, but just spend time going within. I call it devotion time. So I devote to myself, I devote to my inner self and in my team in the inner world. Because we're projecting everything here. He told me many times that we live in an upside down world. We're inside out, so to speak. And yeah, I'm like, what? Okay. It took me a little while to understand that. Oh, now I get it. But yeah, it's so important for us to, especially the way, the world is now, where we're so distracted with everything. I mean, just a few seconds, we lose and I'm right there. We lose our focus. It doesn't take
With
that.
all the polarization and yes, the distractions. And it seems like the only way out is in,
Right. Yeah, of
yeah. Thanks for that reminder, Sharon.
course.
Is there any favorite stories you have with Jesus, with Christ?
Uh, Let me think about that. There's so many. Um, okay, well, he's very funny. I will say that. He is with me, and again, he does meet us where we are. And he's he's a jokester for sure. We had this thing going on where I could hear him in my head, where during my meditation or just hanging out with him, right? Just hanging out. Uh, he we would tell jokes. I mean, we talk back and forth like I'm communicating with you, and we tell jokes. And uh, we gauged who would have the funniest story or have the funniest line by how hard we laughed, right? And he'd say, "Okay," and if I'd have a good line or a good joke, he'd say, "Okay, we're taking that one to the top," because that was, I beat him. And of course, he's always funny, always the funniest. And he says, "You got some good ones," and 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 if it fell flat or something like that, we'd still laugh about it. We'd say, "Oh, no, not that one." So we would joke around like that, which was a lot of fun. He wants us to feel joy and laughter and playfulness, um, because, that's who we are at our core. And he always says, be like children and look at the world through a child's eyes, right?
Seriously, like the world, frowns upon that. And as we get older, we lose that essence. But thank you so much for that reminder.
Mm.
And it's good to know that, he is also reminding you, and so this audience, to be playful and have fun and enjoy life.
Yes, he definitely likes music and loves to dance. He t communicates to me through music a lot, all the time. And when a song will come on that I really love, and will bring up my connection with him, the love in my heart. And I say, "Oh, I love that song." Yeah. And it reminds me of, or, we have that connection. He'll say, "Yes, we had a lot of fun writing that," which
Oh,
reminds me that we are all one. Is always reminding me that we are all one. Yeah. We're all aspects of each other. We are mirrors for each other, and we're aspects of each other.
that is beautiful.
Mm.
Sharon, I can talk to you forever. However, I have three questions that
Okay.
I'd like to ask. The first is, what brings you joy and laughter these days?
Oh gosh, always the same thing. Well, my relationship with Christ, of course, and uh, well, helping people always. When I see how whatever little way I can help people, and like sharing today, if it helps someone, that brings me joy. That gives me reason for being here, and also uh, my family, my loved ones, being around them. Yeah, I don't have a lot of family left here, and so it's nice to be with them. And yeah, when I see people feeling love in their heart, it makes me joyful because we feel that too. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I do love to sing and dance. I do love all the good stuff. Just
Yes.
being around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What would you say to young Sharon who's about to embark on these wonderful adventures?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say there wasn't any tough times because there were definitely. And oh yeah, like I said before, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I would let her know that it's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. That she is experiencing something painful now so that she can be much stronger and have the wisdom and the growth that she needs in her uh, adult years. Yeah.
Is
Later.
there, okay, thank you. Is there a final blessing or message that you have for everyone listening?
Well, kind of what I would tell my younger self, the kind of the same thing, right? If anyone is dealing with tough times right now, it's always for our growth, always. And Yeshua helped me remember that any tough times are an opportunity, that yeah, an opportunity for us to work with uh, our personality, our spiritual growth, our personal growth, that type of thing.
Thanks so much for that, Sharon, for that blessing.
Of course.
Um,
Thank you, Mira. Yeah.
and thank you for everyone listening to us today. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed listening to Sharon speak.